a lot of ways to spend money in Rise of Kingdoms, and it's no secret that I have been spending a lot of money in this game. In fact, I went over budget last year. In this video, I'm going to go over all of the detailed accounting that I did, looking at every bundle I purchased and where it was allocated. Was it passports or equipment or speed ups? How would I do things differently, and what are my recommendations? Stick around in this video to see literally everything I have spent in Rise of Kingdoms. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and before I begin in this video, I really want to point out that you should be very careful with your money, and that spending in Rise of Kingdoms for me is literally a business expense. This YouTube channel is a business that I run, that I quite literally work to provide for my family. So let me just be like super upfront that I am not trying to normalize spending in mobile games. In fact, I would encourage you to prioritize things like, and by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, this is not financial advice, but consider prioritizing things like retirement, saving for your family and things that your family wants to do, or importantly, having an emergency fund. Those are very, very important things. For me, spending in this game is a business expense. And I only spend money that I actually have. I'm not getting into credit card debt that I'm not immediately paying off. I'm not spending money that I don't have, okay? Consider your financial priorities and play intelligently. So with all of that said, and I'll have guidance at the end for how to prioritize spending if you are spending in the game, I have spent a shocking amount of money in Rise of Kingdoms, and along the way, I've accumulated some pretty good stuff. I've got 37 expertise legendaries, which is pretty freaking nuts. I never imagined I would get to this place. I also have 37, it's a weird coincidence, but 37 crafted legendary equipment, of which, by the way, I have 15 that are special talented. I've got a set for infantry, cavalry, and archers, and I've got 7 KVK-worthy sets of equipment. So, like, this is a lot of really solid equipment. Not all of it is equipped right now, but you get the idea here. I've also fought my way over the course of many years to a cool 7.6 billion kill points. I've got almost 30, in fact, just over 37 million dead troops, and about 30 billion resources gathered. So yes, I also hunt that free-to-play value with very little resource assistance because, like, I'm using all my resources for fighting and then fighting from tokens. So I want to give you all of that context for the spending that I've done in the game. And to get to this place, a part of how I've done that is over many years. The faster you want to get to this same place, the more money it's going to take. I've been playing for Rise of Kingdoms at this point for over 3 years. Now, my budget last year, was $24,000. That's $2,000 a month. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but my goal is to play all the gem events, to have lots of speed ups for fighting in KVK, for training troops, and winning events occasionally, because that content is really entertaining. It's fun for me, and I think it's entertaining for you. So I did that. In fact, I was below my budget in 2020. In 2020, I spent $22,000 in Rise of Kingdoms. So I was under budget. Good for me. Hey, nailed it. Bad news, this year I was way over budget. And there's a reason for that. My target for 2021, I said, you know what? If 24K did it last year, why don't I do 24K in 2021? I thought that would make sense. But a couple things happened that changed the calculus here. One is actually pretty significant, is that if you go to the VIP shop at the highest tiers of the VIP shop, there's now new stuff that you can start gemming that was not there previously. And it's generally high value in the grand scheme of things, and enables me to do those things I was just talking about, crafting live streams, and also going in and doing lots of troop training. So they added these 24-hour speeds and the legendary materials. I mean, we're talking about like an extra 25,000 gems a week, which is $100 a week. That's $400 a month. That ends up being almost like $5,000 over the course of the year. So given that they released this, I kind of expected that I would be in the range of like $29,000 for my actual spend. And that would be sort of a reasonable new target. Spoiler alert, I think it's clear already that I exceeded that amount of money. In fact, before I share the actual amount of money that I spent, which I'll do that in just a second, I put out a poll to you all, the community, my community, about how much you spend in Rise of Kingdoms. And I know some of you are going to answer, this with, half seriousness, right? My polls always have some funny stuff in it. But I just wanted to see how much does my community spend. And about 31% said they were free to play. 27% were occasional spenders, spending between $1 to $100. And I get that the titles and scale here is not perfect, okay? I can only have 5 options. I would have many more, I think, options in this poll if I could put them into a YouTube poll, but 5 is the most you can have. And then the Dolphin Club, $101 to $2,000. 30% of people spent over $100, but under $2,000. At the time that I recorded this, 5,000 people had voted. Whoa. 9% said they were in the Whale Club, spending between $2,000 to $20,000 a year. Wow. And then the Kraken Club. See, Kraken is really more over like, I don't know, $50,000 to $100,000 a year makes you a real Kraken. But the Kraken Club, 3%. No way. There's no way 3% of people who responded spent over 20 grand. That's nuts. Y'all are whales. Wow. So anyways, I think people just selected Kraken Club just to select it. Although I am in the Kraken Club. And in this case, we're talking about over $32,000. In fact, I spent exactly $32,016.87 for a grand total of $71,111.28 in Rise of Kingdoms over the duration of time that I've been playing this game, which is absolutely insane. But let's actually, where did that money go? What did I spend on? What were the actual bundles? To figure this out, I actually went in and I went to Apple and I said, hey, I'd like to request my data. You have to go through this whole process to request data. And what happened? I've been waiting for the data for like 2 weeks. I talked to the support for over half an hour only to identify, oh, it looks like your request for data hasn't come through, and it still hasn't come through. So I went and I manually freaking wrote down every single darn transaction. Brute force, baby. I brute force every single transaction. I wrote it down from my logs, and there was no good way to copy and paste it. It was very, very shockingly time consuming. I then categorized every single one of these transactions so that I could go in and make sense of what the heck I had spent my money on. And breaking it down by month, by the way, was definitely insightful. I will point out that in March and April, I had KVK. In July, I had KVK. And in October and November, November and December, I had KVK. Those are the months where the spending goes way, way up. Big shocker. Crystal Technology is a huge money soak. And, a part of what I'm doing is just making sure I always have enough gems to play all the events. So I spend less later to offset when I spend more. But I think it's clear that my average spend is well over the $2,000 a month that I had budgeted, which is still very, very, it just feels insane to me. Now, if I get a look at the more detailed spend, what exact packs did I buy? Over $8,000 on Call of the Ancients, over $7,580 on Suit Up, so geared up bundles, almost $6,000 on Crystal Technology. GG, bro. The holiday specials, festival specials, I actually don't spend all that much on in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it's still a lot of money, but $3,300 on the holiday bundles. And then the monthly special offer, when I buy that, I spent over $1,300. Ample Archaeology, man. Over $1,100 on that. GG between my main and my restart. I mean, I bought some on my restart at some point because I really wanted some of that equipment. The Lost Land bundle is the KVK Healing Speed Up bundle. The daily special offer, man, got me for $960. But actually, that is probably one of the highest value things that I purchased, besides the gem subscription, clocking in at about $380. Keep in mind, I'm doing multiple accounts here. I have my main, I have my restart, and my farm was gemming kingdom buffs, it's a not small amount of money that goes into that. And really that account has become more like an alt account. I have over 900 bucks on New World bundles, 300 bucks on Fate Changers. Get wrecked, Chisgule, but also get a Fate Changer. And then there's a bunch of smaller bundles here, like Vanquisher Pops, Material Supplies, Treasure Hunter. So that's the Battle Pass. The Fast Development is actually Crystal Technology. So there's more Crystal Technology in here. Archaeologist, I think that was a different name for the Battle Pass at some point. There's bundles in here, Misty God, Legend of the North. I think those were Commander unlocks. I think Ragnar Shaggy Pants is in there, right? As one of those things. Raw Gems, $5 for some reason. I don't know what first bundle welfare even was. Okay. And then, $1 of raw gems as well. Gems. Okay. And if we just like categorize this to make a little bit more sense of this, what we're looking at here is a grand total of almost $14,000 on speed up bundles, $9,500 on equipment bundles, $6,000 on Crystal Technology, $1,140 on commanders. So that's daily special offers. That's the Writer of History pop. $900 on passports. $385 is somehow just raw gems. Not sure exactly how that worked. Some of the transactions I had to figure out what they were. It would just say like 25,000 gem bundle. And I'm like, cool. So what was that? And I'd have to go back and figure it out. And then $120 just about on the battle passes. So I buy those on all three of my accounts because the value is so high, and I complete them entirely on my farm, my main, and my restart. So by percentage, right, 43% is speed ups, 30% is equipment. Almost 20% is Crystal Tech. And then 3% is like commanders specifically. And almost 3% of my budget is just the ability to play in the kingdom I want to play in, which is kind of nuts. That is the breakdown of my spending from 2021. And I put together a chart just like to compare, like how do these line up to, how does this line up to previous years as I scroll like past this every single time? The big change between 2021 and 2020, besides the fact that I was spending way more, is a drop in the percent of my budget that was going towards speed ups and equipment, and a huge boost in the percent of my spend that was going toward Crystal Tech. I mean, in 2020, I had only one Crystal Tech KVK. And then in 2021, I had technically 4, although I only maxed Tech in 3. So I think that's right anyways. It's directionally correct. For now, I think it makes sense for me to continue to spend on bundles that enable me to play events and make content with them, which is like really crazy. I could maybe consider pumping the brakes on reckless gemming. Things like, I don't know, the Charlemagne Wheel of Fortune, card up in the top if you want to watch that video and make that worth the gems to me. Yeah, I think it's super entertaining when I go spin a commander like Charlemagne, but I definitely don't need to. And at some point, I'm spending a lot of money in this game. I should consider pumping the brakes on that stuff. And in terms of a spend priority, I will make the argument that the number one priority is these supplies. The 30-day gem supply and the 7-day material supply. I would follow that up with the daily special offer as being just gangbuster value right here, man. Treasure of the King. Actually, it's not Treasure of the King anymore. It's really the bundle where you get them all together. If you wanted one of those commanders and you are spending in the game, like, man, the value's really sick for the gems and the speed ups and the commander sculptures you get. It's really hard to match literally anywhere else, with the exception of you know what? You do get a lot of value. Next priority here is recharge events and holiday events. That's pretty good. By the way, I didn't even mention Growth Fund because presumably you've picked that up already at this point. If you are spending, again, right? This is like crazy stuff. Crystal Technology becomes the next priority for me in terms of spending. And that may surprise people. I put it before Call of the Ancients. I put it before the holiday bundles, at least beyond what you would need to like complete the event. I would put event completion from holiday bundles at the same priority as like the recharge event. But I put Crystal Tech up above Coda and holiday bundles because I feel like the big value you get from that is KVK rewards, and you save speed ups and resources, or just get to fight more in KVK, and you're stronger in the field. Like, that to me feels like a relatively high priority compared to these other bundles. And then I think I would prioritize like monthly special, and then after that, like geared up, right? And, you know, if you're spending and you need passports, New World is important. Like, you need passports. I can't emphasize how important it is to be able to play with the people you want to play with and to have enough passports on hand. I will max New World this month, presumably, assuming that I don't have enough passports to migrate, and I don't, right? So that at all times I have probably close to 150 passports, which sounds insane. But like, God, can you imagine migrating somewhere and then it's a disaster and you don't have the passports to migrate out? What a wreck that would be. And even though I spend like a ton of research figuring out like what kingdom is worth going to, even I want the safety net. Like, I cannot be without the passports to be in the kingdom where the action is. Like, and to play with the people I want to play with. So anyways, maybe I'm going off the deep end at this point, but what do you think of this crazy spend that I've done in Rise of Kingdoms? For me, it feels like an insane amount of money to be spending in a mobile game, beyond what I ever imagined I would be spending in a mobile game. But then again, I never imagined I would be a YouTuber with almost 150,000 subscribers. So just very genuinely, thank you. I appreciate you. I can't believe we get to do this together. And, you know, thank you for supporting my wailing like a crazy person in Rise of Kingdoms and being able to do this full time. I love it. And I just very much appreciate you. Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, throw a like on here. Consider subscribing. If you want to see my breakdown from last year and all the spending I did and what I learned then, I'll have a card up in the top for that guidance. And like, God, it just feels crazy. It feels crazy, and I appreciate you.